So, John, you write a whole chapter on Butler, Pennsylvania, the attempted assassination on Donald Trump's life during the campaign. Talk to us about that moment for Donald Trump, but also, was that to you a critical changing point in the campaign in the election for president?
I think it was decisive. I mean, he was already winning at that point, but it was decisive. But what I did is I found a treasure trove of information that was actually publicly available, but nobody really realized it was there. It was sworn interviews with the Secret Service agents that had been part of a report that had been released by Congress, but this was the raw material. There was I reconstructed like minute by minute what was going on. And in that moment, that photograph on the cover of my book, you know, the shots are fired. The Secret Service covers him, brings him to the ground. He famously loses his shoes. Now, the Secret Service at that point has to get him into an armored SUV and get the hell out of there into a hospital. But he fights them, and he gets out and does the, you know, fight. Think about that. They don't know if there's another shooter.
Yeah.
And he's now exposing himself to the television cameras and capturing that moment, but also to another potential shooter.
All those guys couldn't hold him down?
And the Secret Service...
big guy.
And the Secret Service agents, right, that this was a violation of everything they'd been trained to do, but it was also Donald Trump's personal finest moment. I mean, he comes up, the defiance, the image that defines his campaign, and you know, and he goes on. By the way, when he gets to the hospital, I found out, when he gets to the hospital, his aides, you know, he comes out, the aides are in other cars. As he comes in, he passes, you know, just a handful of aides there, and he says, "How's it playing? How's it look on TV?" That was his first thought.
Like a comedy.
Wow.
So all of this is interesting, but how's this planned for the people who voted for him, like the farmers and the people who depended on him to bring the country back from the brink? He's managed to bail out Argentina. He's managed to make peace in other places, and yet he can't seem to get anything done here. What's the game, and why is it costing the American people damn near everything they have fought for? Why is he not paying attention to what's going on with the real people?
I mean, you know, look, first of all, he is spending so much of his focus on foreign issues. He wants the Nobel Peace Prize, and of course on what he's doing literally on the White House grounds. I'm not joking. I mean, that is a big part of what he is doing
That's what Karl
day to day.
said.
His Treasury Secretary said something to my colleague Martha Raddatz that was kind of wild. I don't know if you saw this. Martha asked about the soybean farmers who are now really suffering because their exports to China are cut off. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who is a billionaire, said, you know, Martha, you may not know this, but I'm a soybean farmer. So I'm feeling some of that pain too. I mean, he's a billionaire.
God.
He does own soybean farms, but I mean...
Understandable.
So look, you know, this shutdown is going to start to really hurt people. I mean, the SNAP benefits are retiring.
It's hurting people
and
now.
we will see. Yes, but it's going to get a lot worse.
So what's it? But then, so we're seeing that he's redoing the White House. So is this all of what is this? What is the end game here?
The end game for Donald Trump, he is thinking now more than he ever did. I don't think he thought much of it in the first term about his place in history and his legacy, and he sees it in different terms than what you're defining. He sees it in terms of like how the White House is transformed and how he is lauded around the world as a great peacemaker.
Well, and something in the last question alludes to what she's saying, which is Steve Bannon floated the idea that there's a plan for Trump to stay and be president beyond 2028. Is he just trolling people, or is that what some of these like renovations and things are? Is he preparing to stay in the future?
Look, I don't think that Donald Trump is serious about running for a third term, but this talk can get out of control. It starts as a way to, you know, freak out his opponents. He loves showing off the 2028 hats, Trump 2028 hats, to anybody that comes to the White House. He knows that it freaks out his opponents. I think that's the intention here. But here's the thing, Sarah, is how does he leave the stage? How does that happen? Because the minute he makes it clear he's not going to try to run again, then all the attention goes, he's a lame duck president, and all the attention goes to Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, whoever else may be running. Is he ready to cede the stage in that way? I mean, I'm sure he'd love to do the apprentice thing and see but at some point, does he really pass that baton and he's no longer the center of attention?
Yeah.
I don't know how he does that. But I do think that I know he's told people, look, I'm leaving at the end of this, friends.
Okay.
Well, that's our president. That's our president, y'all. And so everything that's happening in Europe and everything that's happening outside of here seems to be what he's all about. And he wants to make the U.S. the apprentice. I don't know if I want to play that game.
Yeah.
I actually need somebody to take care of these folks. I'm sorry, I'm sure all of it's exciting. I'm sure it'll be a beautiful ballroom, but what the hell? You know, kids are like, and all the people he's put around, it's been interesting, John. It's been very interesting.
And by the way, the demolition of the East Wing is something that seems to have broken through. I think that people are really concerned about that. I mean,
Yes.
It's their house.
You know.
It's the people's house.
If you were to
Everybody told us that. Everybody said, this is your house.
if you want to paint your door a different color in Georgetown, you have to go through approval.
Yeah, you do.
Hello. Sure do.
Well, thank goodness his new book is called Retribution, and we could all read about what's going on because it's out today. And you can scan the QR code on your screen to buy it right now. But members of our studio audience, you are all going home with a copy of John's book.